Always clowning around.
And it's Monday. Trying to make you smile on a Monday, come on. Anyway, how y'all all welcome. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline as we rock and roll. Boy, we are loaded up today. We are loaded up to bear on a Monday and always ready to go. A lot of stuff. They're going after Trump, as most people predicted. Republicans had a chance to really go after Hillary and Comey and all that stuff, and they sat on the sideline. But they're going to go after Trump. They got to get him out there, folks. It's just a swamp. It is what it is. I think Democrats are playing in a bad hand, but hey, you know, my dad told me a long time ago, some people you let live in ignorance, son. In other words, let them find out for themselves what they're dealing with. So, matter of fact, the more the Democrats go after Trump, the more I start liking Donald Trump. The more these people of hate, true hate, when I say hate, they hate this country. They hate the Constitution. They hate God. I mean, they hate everything. And the more they go after Trump, the more I like Donald Trump. That's just the way it is. You can take any of these guys and go after them and get unlimited information, and they're going to get 60 more witnesses and go after your money and all that stuff. But these people are wrong by the way they're doing it too. It's pitiful what we're watching them do to this country, and yet people will still vote for them. If you think running Donald Trump's life, getting rid of the Constitution, getting rid of the Jesus Christ and God is going to make this country better, boy. No, even worse than that, make your life better, boy, you getting ready to be food. Your life would be as blessed as it is if you were living in Venezuela or Cuba or Russia. That's how blessed you're going to be one day. It's a shame that people don't go look at what's happening in these third world countries and these countries that, just they don't have their people are just screwed for the rest into eternity, at least until they get to eternity. You know, it just is. And I'm looking at this and I'm almost to the point of laughing to not lose my mind when I see what's going on with the Democrat party's trying to do, and Cortez and all these nutted up Looney Tunes. I mean, they are Looney Tunes. And these are the people taking over the Schiff, Representative Schiff. Man, he looks like a fine fella. I bet he's a very moral Christian man. He really looks like he plays it. It's just, as we watch this, people thinking that if we can destroy people's life, my life's going to get better. I don't understand. Brandon, if I wish you had a bad thing happen to you, how does that make me better? Or somebody was to take everything you had and give it to me, or part of what you have and give it to me, it's going to make my life better. People really believe that. We get rid of Trump. Well, if we had single-payer health care system, it's going to be better. If they gave us a livable wage, if we increase minimum wage, we've been doing most of that stuff. Obamacare is going to make people's life better. Running one person at a time with what? You get hooked on the government subsidies. You get hooked on the government. You get dependent. And that's what I'm seeing with this stuff with Trump and all this stuff. It's just nonstop. Nonstop hate. Nonstop hate is not going to make my life better or your life better. It's just not. You know? It's just never going to. And this hate, it's pure hate that's coming out of these people on the left's mouth. That's all they know is hate. Yet the things they want to take us to have failed every country, every family, 100% of the time. And yet, I see this every day. I look at this and I go, wow, people are just tripping out. They think if they could take Trump down and Democrats can win, man, prosperity's coming. When does that ever happen? If they can make everybody under one healthcare system, woo-hoo, everything's going to be better. It's not. If I could just get a livable wage, what's a livable wage? They're giving $1,000 to people in Chicago, and the cost of living there in New York is ridiculous. If they can take more money out of your pockets for property taxes and make your life, and you got to accept marriage the way they lay it out, and you got to accept that a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy, just the process and the thought. And if you're against killing babies, woo, man, you really are a head case. We got people that kill babies, and that's the top line of their party. Unbelievable. Unbelievable when I look at all what's going on in this country, especially what they're trying to do to Trump. Trump, like I tell people, I told that to Ralph Abraham, I tell Risponi, be Trump tough. You're dealing with a media who doesn't have a clue. They got their sides. They totally running on the side of the left, and they don't care what the left thinks or says. They're gonna push the agenda. You know, it's unbelievable. There's another. Trump faces GOP rebellion. Trump on failed deal. Trump all the time. Trump all the time. Just phenomenal. Anyway, we ain't even gonna get to that. I just kind of lost a gasket there for a second going, man, I just don't understand how in the world. Bill Clinton's out there, Brandon, has 2020 advice, but few candidates seeking it. Well, why do you want to talk to Clinton? Talk about old news. That's old news. And there's a new Democrat jumps in every day. That ought to be a
Hickenlooper.
Huh?
Hickenlooper,
yeah.
Who's described as a moderate. See, in
what
the
he's
past,
done. Is he a white male?
Yeah, he's a white
male.
male. Oh, I know. And moderates, too. See, moderates in the Democrat Party used to do really well. But now it's all about extreme positions. So you know what? I don't think he's going to do anything.
Brandon, he's white male. They're already telling white males go home in the Democrat Party.
And yet now more of them are jumping into the race.
More of them are jumping in, but they tell them to go home. You're done. You're done. We want a minority or a woman minority. We don't get away. White boys, just vote for us. Matter of fact, if you look at all the people that are running their mouths in the Democrat Party, it's Cortez and Pelosi. It's an older woman that's been there for a long time and a new nutted up woman. So, I mean, that's the two running their mouths most of the time. They're the ones that they stick in a microphone in front of them all the time. It is what it is. But I'm just telling you what's going on. It's just incredible what they're going to keep trying to do to Donald Trump. As long as he's president, they're going to just keep doing. They can impeach him if they want to. The Senate is not going to impeach him. They got to have 67 votes to impeach him. It's a waste of our time and our money, and I don't care what Donald Trump did before he was president. I really don't. I don't care what you did either. All right, a lot of stuff to cover. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. The Advocate, once again, no clue. They don't have a clue. I can't believe they even pay people to write in that paper. And I'm talking about the newspaper. There was a now Melinda Desolate, who's probably one of the better ones, Associated Press. New Louisiana budget fights emerge. And after years of fighting over budget cuts and taxes, Louisiana now fighting over how to spend excess money. Bell Edwards and them will tell you the economy's doing good. And I keep telling you, it's not. It's not even close to what they're trying to say. And here's the problem, folks. And I read this article, and I'm not going to read it all. But it talks about how education wants 86 million, early education, 86 million more. K through 12 public leaders, they want another 100 million. Higher education wants another 172 million. But here's the key line. There's not enough money to cover all the wants across the government. Biggest budget we've ever had in the history of Louisiana. And they don't have enough money. Here's the problem with it. Once you put all this money into programs and salaries, every year you got to have that and a little more to be able to balance your budget. Every year it goes up, up, up. You start adding new programs, it's even more, like the Medicaid program. We added, it's billions of dollars more. People keep thinking that stuff's free. It's not. It's going to punch us in the face one day. So what I want you to know is when you add this $300 million or $400 million, you better produce that plus every year, or they're going to come back and say, well, you know, we need some more taxes. And that's the problem. This is the bigger problem. Our economy cannot afford for the size of government that we have. That's why in the last 10 or 14 years, we've had an increase of our GDPs are running about half of what our state government has grown over the last 10 to 14 years. That's a fact. The numbers are there. So what you do is to catch up. You think by raising fees on college students. And by the way, Brandon, I think it was in Lafayette. Wasn't there an article saying the students are starting to revolt against the fees and the fee increases? I think it was here. They said, we don't want any more fee. We want to decrease some of the fee increases because it's coming out of their pocket. And that's what we're doing. We still, remember last year, Bel Air was declared that we got all the money we need for the budget. We got all the money we need for higher ed. And 3 days later, they increased fees again at the universities. Because people are not going to be able to afford all the government that we have. And that's the part that I don't think we've come to grips with. Okay? You come to grips with your budget at home if you start looking at all your wants and all your needs and you don't have enough money because you took all the wants in. This is Louisiana state government, so what they do is they're going to come back and hit us some more. Nobody understands this simple process in Baton Rouge. They just don't want to understand it. You can't have everything you want. And even Melinda Desolate said, all the wants across state government, we don't have enough money to cover it. John Bel Edwards calls that a cut, by the way, Brandon. I want $1 billion. I can only get $500 million. So I guess we're going to have to cut $500 million when he doesn't cut a penny. All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Don't go nowhere. Let it be. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. A lot of stuff to cover today. Also, just dealing one more thing with the article. Early childhood education advocates are looking beyond the general tax base. Bel Edwards, who's tied in with Alton Ashey in the gambling industry. He's tied into all this stuff. Everybody give him a free pass. He gets no free pass this time. They want to take sports betting, and any money they make from that, they want to give it to childhood education, which that means we would dedicate more money to something else. Now, the hypocrisy of the whole thing, of course, is all we hear is that the problem with the budget is too much dedication. I'm sick of hearing that from people. People tell me, well, Moon, if they'll just undedicate them, they're not going to undedicate it. Why do you think they still dedicate it? They would not get the gambling votes if they didn't dedicate the money. People thought the lottery was going to be dedicated to education. It never was until, 10, 12 years ago. Elected officials got tired of hearing, well, I thought y'all dedicated that money to education. Well, they finally dedicated it. It's about $168 million a year. It does go to education now. But nobody says that, hey, education's been getting a little bit of increase in that. They didn't at first. They took $100 million. It was $100 million at the time when we made the vote. They took that money, put it in education, put $100 million back out of the general fund, never got an increase. But the actual increase of $68 million is happening. But nobody talks about that. So what do? When I talk to people that are reasonable, and I try to explain to them that the dedication is not the problem. We've got too much government for the economy that produces that kind of money. We just got way too much. That's the part that people don't understand. Your private sector, the private sector is the key for a tax base. The private sector has to do well for the tax base to be what you need it to be. People have to understand that. The private sector is where you get your money from. Okay? So if the private sector is not doing great, then what they do is they say, well, let's keep raising taxes. That's what Bel Edwards did in the $7 billion. Dan Fagan said it again today, $7 billion in new taxes. It's never going to be enough if we don't get the job climate better. So what do? We run the gambling. Gambling is a partnership between the gamblers and local and state government. It never delivers what they talk about doing, great jobs and good paying jobs. There's a few. It never delivers the tax dollars that they claim it's going to deliver. Because remember, if it's delivering tax dollars, it's delivering to government. It's not the private sector, great private sector jobs that people think it is. Look, you want to gamble, enjoy yourself. I'm talking about the hypocrisy of saying that we got too many dedicated funds and the governor says, I'm for it, I'll dedicate it, no problem. Those are the things that I'm talking about. The gamblers come here. What they do is they buy people for a living. I know Alton Ashey. I know him. I went to school with him. He buys people for a living. That's what the man does for a living. Not just him, all of them. You can like gambling, got people making money, small business, whatever, good for you. But I'm just telling you what it is. It doesn't create anything. So why would you want to dedicate more money to something in the budget? Because when they make the argument, and there will be another run to have a constitutional convention, but the constitutional convention they're making a run for, they're going to tell you, well, we got to undedicate this money. We got to free it up. And I just don't think we have the people in place. To John Hilario's out the way. Jay Darden's out the way. Francis Thompson's out the way. The so-called phenomenal, intelligent guys and leaders that the press has built up. Those people are the biggest part of the problems that we have in the state of Louisiana. Yes, the great Jay Darden right in there with them. John Hilario, as I've been pointed out on this program many times, and the fee combined have been there for 90-something years. Over 90 years of experience. These are the guys they go to, House to Senate, at the House. They're not leaders, they're deal makers. And trust me, they're getting some deals made for themselves. And as long as we have those people around, we're never going to succeed. We're going to fail. Bell Edwards and Jay Darden experiment has failed. The co-governorship is a gigantic failure. It's a gigantic failure. Now, when we get back, I'm about to take a break in a minute. When we get back, I love that the Democrats are so cocky about winning this race. Y'all ought to love it. I love it. They think they've won the election already. Folks, they're not going to win. He can't win if we go vote. He cannot win if we go vote. Let me say it again. He cannot win if we go vote. By the way, Cane River King Cake giveaway starts right now. I'll give away my last one at the end of the program. Stuff's good stuff, folks. Just email me, moon@moongriffon.com. If you'd like to win, you got a great chance. We got to take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, your opportunity to be a voice. By the way, they're all pumped up because we got 40,000 new people to vote with the bill that they passed. And it was a bill that fooled a lot of people, but the press don't care. They just don't care. They're rolling. They push Edwards across the finish line. And I stand here today. If we go vote, he can't win. There's no way he can win. Now listen to me. What I'm saying makes them nervous. They're nervous behind the scenes, and I can tell because they're cocky. They're just being very, very cocky about the election. As you know, we got two candidates, Mr. Risponi and Congressman Ralph Abraham, who are running, who are both very qualified, good guys, been in the process for a long time. And it's funny because the Democrats jumped on the fact, and they continue to jump on the fact. Kennedy's not in. Landry don't want to run. Scalise don't want to run. And the word is they're still trying to push for Scalise to run. There was another article today saying that Scalise, as of right now, is not getting in the race, which is fine. If he wants to get in, good. If he doesn't, that's fine with me. I don't care who runs. I got a totally different perspective than most people because I don't think the man – I know how Edwards got in. Okay? I know how Edwards got in. And I'm telling you, there are way more voters for us than they want to vote for a liberal like Bell Edwards again and Jay Darden. You just got to trust me on this. So Scalise is not getting in. And I don't know why they keep even harping on that. Scalise said a long time ago he wouldn't run. And he's not getting in. But the Democrats are the ones that are cocky about this. Well, Kennedy's not in. Scalise, they know they'll get beat. It's nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing to do with Edwards winning the election. And I want you to understand that. I'm still looking in the eyes of people. Man, I hope, this is what I'm hearing now when I go all over the place. Man, I hope you're right. I'm not hoping. I know I'm right. I don't like to say that, but I know I'm right. The only way Edwards wins is the 58% that voted for Trump decide I'm staying home. Now, then he can win. There's no doubt about it. If our voters go hunting and go fishing and go to ball games and say to hell with it, we can't win, and you believe what the Advocate and the newspapers tell you, then yeah. Well, then you were wrong, Griffon. No, I'm not. We can't lose if we go vote. This is a joke. This governorship is a joke. This honor code crap is a joke. All that stuff, folks, is a joke. None of it even makes no sense that the man's sitting there raising taxes like he's doing. None of it makes sense. You got to look at it, but they're cocky. And this is what I like. I want them to be cocky. As a good friend of mine said, when you get cocky, you get sloppy. Steve Scalise announced again he wasn't running for office, okay? Now, I not only saw that in the paper, I make some phone calls, okay? So the guy's not running. It don't bother me. I like Rasponi and Abraham. What I don't like is attitudes of people that are living in something that they have direct control over. If you have control over something, you take control. The people that voted for Trump was 58% at a 66% clip. The governor's race is going to be closer to 40 or 50%. We control that. Unless you too, look, I don't want to accuse people of stuff, but if you're too lazy and you're not going to vote, or you're too apathetic, or you're one of these no-hope people, then don't go vote. Then the prophecy will come true. Man, they're trying to beat Edwards. They're cocky. You ought to love it when they get cocky. They get sloppy. In the article today, they had an article today, okay, about Steve Scalise not running. Okay? So the article says Scalise is not running. Well, I've been knowing that. But they asked the Democrats. You see, and this is political, but this is what hits the newspaper. And this is what people read online. And this is what they believe because you pick up something in the Advocate and you believe it to be true when it's not. They interview a Democrat Party operative. And the Democrat Party operative goes, they're still looking for somebody because they know the candidates out there can't beat Bill Edwards. I love it. You get nervous? I love it. You want them to believe they can't lose. I want them to believe that. I want them to believe that these two guys can't beat him. Whoever heard of Bill Edwards before last governor's race? Nobody. Zero zilch. Eddie Rasponi has a base because he's been helping people for a long time. Ralph Abraham has a base and a record because he's been a congressman for many years now. He has a base. It's a pretty solid base. And they're cocky about it. Well, see, they still look. Look, I'm not looking for somebody. You're not looking for somebody. You got to decide who we're going to vote for. These are the political operatives. These are the guys that are big shots behind the scene that they interview and they talk to people, and everybody wants to win easy. They want to win easy. And what I mean by that is you want a candidate you already know that is won. Well, we thought that with Vitter last time. We didn't realize that Jay Darden would knife him so bad that he would really start showing his true color, a liberal Democrat. Nobody suspected Scott Argel to go off the rails and do what he did. Darden was the worst by far. You know, Andrew Bosch, Louisiana GOP executive director. We have two great candidates. Our goal is to build our grassroots infrastructure and help down ballot candidates all the way up. I think people are trying to figure out which candidate will be, and that's what they're doing. This is party people talking, folks. That's all. But Democrats in Edwards' campaign seized upon a narrative that Republicans are trying to find someone better to challenge the incumbent. Let me quote Democrat Governor Association spokesman David Turner. At this point, Republicans' attempt to find someone else to run for governor has just become a sad indictment of the campaigns of Risponi and Abraham. It has not. It's ignorant comment by people that are in the Republican Party. They're basically becoming the last kid picked for the pickup basketball game. This open casting call only serves to underscore the strength of Bill Edwards' re-election campaign as he builds on his record. Listen to this: creating jobs and expanding access to health care. He didn't expand my access to health care. Creating jobs. The word, I want to read it again. I told you yesterday, we have the worst record for creating jobs in the country. Here's this popped up the other day. 10 worst states for jobs in America. TechRepublic.com. Soon as I clicked it on, guess what popped up? The number one state for what you don't go because there's no job being created. Louisiana ranked each state with unemployment rates, improvements, home to income prices. We are number one for the worst, and we got Bill Edwards and them talking about creating jobs. Sinful, but they're doing it. But they're cocky. You ought to love it, folks. If you will hang in there. Edwards can't win unless we don't vote. Period. But if we sit around with doom and gloom, I don't know who the candidate is. I hope you're right. I hear that from friends. I want to punch them in the mouth. I'm not, because they might whip me. But I hear this a lot. And folks, you ought to love where we sit. They really think it's over, and it's not. If we don't reject Bill Edwards, we're rejecting the business community and families in this state. We'll be right back. Hi, hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Programming notes. Wednesday, we will be at J&J Exterminator in beautiful Monroe, Louisiana. Actually, we're going to spend about 3 days in Monroe. Jesse Waddell is the manager. We'll be with him. We're doing a live broadcast. We'll also be at another one on Thursday. I'll get to that a little later. Mr. Bobby John is coming, Brandon, and he's bringing 4 king cakes to give away.
Oh, wow.
But you got to come by and say hi. You got a chance to win a king cake.
So this will be one of those rare times where you're on the road and you'll actually be eating the food and I won't be in the studio?
Well, I don't know if I'll be eating it, but there'll be a lot of people eating the food, no doubt about it. But anyway, that's going to be Tuesday. Always good to get with Mr. Bobby and them and Jesse Waddell and that group. So we'll be there. Thursday, I'll be somewhere. And on Friday, probably at KMLB Studio broadcast. And I'm not going to get into why I'm going to be up there for 3 days, but my son's having a procedure on his shoulder, and I'll just leave it at that. So it's going to be a 2 or 3 day deal that we got to go up there. And he's had a bum. We're actually not injured. Shoulder pops out, and we had to get it fixed. So anyway, that's what we're going to try to do. And so we have to go on Tuesday, pre-op and all that stuff. So we're just going to spend a few days up there. And next week I have a big change in the week, and I'll let you know that on Monday. But we'll be at J&J in Northeast Louisiana. Hope you can come by and say hi, folks. I'll have a microphone if you want to come by and talk to me. We'll be there. And then on Wednesday, I'll let you know about Wednesday. We'll be on the campus of ULM, Small Business Incubator Center. So we'll be broadcasting from there on Thursday. So anyway, got it going on. And then either in studio Friday or maybe still in Monroe at that time. So just a little change for the end of the week. And then back in studio on Monday, but I got another big change next week. And I'm going to have to miss a few days. Let you know that on Monday. All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. New York City implemented minimum wage hike for fast food workers. Now they're looking for jobs. Greatest plunge in restaurant jobs in nearly 20 years. July 15th, New York's fast food board appointed the new governor, Andrew Cuomo, agreed with the labor movement, recommended a $15 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers with companies with at least 30 stores nationwide. The plan looked like it was a disaster because following the implementation of that recommendation, New York City showed the greatest plunge in restaurant jobs in almost 20 years. 20 years. A survey published near the end of 2018 found 76.5% of full-service restaurant respondents reduced employee hours, 36.3% eliminated jobs in 2018. 75% of them limited service. Restaurant respondents report that they will reduce employees' hours. 53.1, 10% would eliminate jobs in 2019. When the tip wage increased 50% in 2015, since doubled annual employment growth dropped from 6.67 to less than 1% as of November 2018. This is John Bel Edwards' party, the Democrat Party, who did this. So that's just one of the many things that's happening. By the way, cane rib pecan king cake, the last one we're going to give away today. So if you want to get an opportunity to win that, just email me, moon@moongriffon.com, moon@moongriffon.com. Tell me you want to win. Don't forget to leave an address with me. I need a address in case you win. Somebody's going to win it. Somebody always wins it. So anyway, Donald Trump's CPAC. Long speech. By the way, they were hollering, lock her up again. You know, this thing about going after Donald Trump, and they are. The Democrats, I think they're going to destroy themselves. And that's what I hope they do. They deserve to be destroyed. They do. And what they're trying to do to one person is phenomenal. And see, Republicans, they don't want to do that. So they don't go after anybody. They know Clinton was dirty. The dossier was dirty. Comey's dirty. All that stuff is dirty. And yet they never went after it like they should have. And I think if you really want to shut this down, Lindsey Graham can go after anything he wants to go after on the Democrat side with Hillary, Mueller, Comey. He can go after any of that stuff. Why are they doing this, folks? Why are they going after Donald Trump? What do they think they're going to win if they brought Trump down? Let me tell you something, and I said this earlier. I don't know about y'all. 58% listen to this program that voted for Donald Trump. I don't know about you, but I'm digging my heels in for Trump. I'm digging my heels in for him. These people have gotten to be so powerful and arrogant. They can go do what they want to do. They know it. They know the press is going to help them. The media is costing this country greatly. The media in this country is devastating this country greatly. They just are. They don't go after anything. They should have been after the dossier. Where did it come from? They didn't do any of that stuff to start this whole investigation. But I find myself pulling for Trump now because I know who the bad people are, and it's the media and the left. They hate this country. And the problem is bringing the country to its knees. All the people that think this is a good idea, they're going to be just as poor, just as ignorant, just as nutted up, have nothing like they have now. And what do? So you brought everybody to his knees. I've never seen anything like this in the years I've been living. I've never seen this. I've never seen him go after a president like this. Bill Clinton was child's play compared to this. Obama got the freest ride of anybody. Probably the worst president, by far the worst president we've ever had. Man who hated this country. And you can see them hating the country. They hate success. They hate oil and gas, so they make up global warming. You know, they hate success. They hate prosperity. Why would you hate prosperity? If you hate prosperity, move to Venezuela. You're going to feel right at home. I find myself now being more of a Trump supporter than I ever was. Well, Moon, I know he's done some bad things. So have I. So have you. This has been going on too far, too long. And the Democrats, really, folks, I thought this was collusion. They say it is. They're telling people on the news stations that they're collusion. It's collusion going on. They're telling people that Trump, obstructive justice, corrupt and abuse of power. On who? Who did he hurt? This other crazy guy besides Schiff, Representative Nadler. Do you think the president obstructed justice? Yes, I do. They're saying impeachment's way down the road. They got Cohen up there to call him a racist. Can anybody tell me what Trump's done as the president of the United States to prove he's a racist? Can anybody? It's just what you do. It's where the party has gone to. Does anybody else feel like me? Does anybody else feel like me that if you voted for Donald Trump, are you still staying with Donald Trump? Are you kicking in your heels going, I've had enough of this? Are you even paying attention to this? Representative of Illinois has asked Cohen if he was aware of any other wrongdoing or illegal act regarding Donald Trump that hadn't been discussed yet in the hearing, and Cohen said yes. And again, that's those parts of the investigation currently being looked at, folks. Do you think if they got Barack Obama on there? Do you think if you got Chucky Schumer or Nancy Pelosi, somebody could just go find what these people have really done to this country and what they've really done to hurt this country? Do you really think somebody can get up there and say yes and then you a full-fledged investigation in their life? They keep accusing the Republicans of shielding the president for any proper accountability when I'm telling you Republicans helped join the crowd is why we got the Mueller investigation. And I wish Lindsey Graham would do what he said. There's so much there with Hillary and Mueller, Comey, Obama. So much they could go after, and they won't. But they're not going to stop, folks. And this is something we're going to have to battle with. I'm not watching this every night. I can't. I'm not going to be suckered in to the negative actions of the press and the left. You shouldn't be either. Anyway, we got to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. I believe the people in Louisiana are standing with Donald Trump. And we should. Witch hunt at best. All right, we're going to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, your opportunity to be a voice. Gallup poll. 57% of Democrats have a positive view of socialism. But in the same Gallup poll, it just proves that you have people that don't know what they're voting for, don't care, don't understand, but don't worry about it either. Same poll, they show respondents supporting small business and free enterprise and rejecting the idea government is doing too little. Two opposite views on the same poll with the same people. So, 57% of them, I think it's like in the teens for Republicans.
Well, what Republican has a favorable view of socialism?
Oh, there's a few idiots.
I mean.
But it's very few. Okay? Instead, they point to Scandinavian-style socialism in nations like Denmark, Finland, Norway, and Sweden as true socialism. The one problem, these countries aren't socialist, Brandon. Danish Prime Minister said Denmark is far from a socialist planned economy. Denmark is a market economy. You know, crazy calls here every now and then brings this up. These socialist states have no mandated minimum wage or guaranteed jobs. By the way, Brandon, when somebody calls you, nutty calls again, Denmark, Finland, Norway, Sweden, they have no mandated minimum wage and no guaranteed jobs. And what is crazy cuckoo Cortez saying? You know, job for everybody. Even if you don't want to work, we'll have a job for you, or we'll have money for it. Taxes are higher than the U.S. rate, but largely by making the middle and working classes pay big value-added tax, which hits consumption, not income or wealth. True socialism, in fact, is reflected in Venezuela, Cuba, and the Soviet Union. All were economic disasters and brutality repressive states. You know, young people, you can forgive them for their ignorance. Elders should be leading, not meekly parroting them in fear. In other words, we got people in this country. Listen to veterans. Listen to these people that have gone overseas and fought for you and me. There's nobody pushing some kind of dictator socialistic way of doing things like this Cortez woman is doing.
You know, John Stossel recently did a piece on Sweden and how he says, you hear Sweden's a socialist success. He actually did about a 5-minute piece on it.
Do you have it?
Yep, I have
because
it right
his was funny. They named Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Finland. I think we played this before, Brandon. But we can play it again.
I'm not sure. He just tweeted this out about a day ago.
Well, go ahead, because I like to listen to it. I listened to it the first time with everybody else. Let's see.
And many Americans don't like capitalism. Socialism would be better, they say. Not repressive Russian or Venezuelan socialism, but democratic socialism, like what's practiced in Scandinavia.
I think we should look to countries like Denmark, like Sweden.
Say, well, you want to be like Sweden? Kinda. Sounds pretty good.
People interviewed in this just-released PBS documentary say America should be more like Sweden.
It seems like it's like a place that, like, no problems or something.
It is a socialist economy.
Volvos and socialized medicine.
Volvo is now a Chinese company. Welcome to Stockholm, Sweden. My name is Johan Norberg, and this is where I was born and raised.
Johan Norberg made this documentary because he wanted to set the record straight.
Sweden is not socialist because the government doesn't own the means of production. To see that, you have to go to Venezuela or to Cuba or North Korea. Mm-hmm. But we did have a period in the 1970s and 1980s when we had something that resembled socialism, a big government that taxed and spent heavily. And that's the period in Swedish history when our economy was going south.
So much so that even socialists complained about the high taxes.
Astrid Lindgren, who wrote the very popular children's books, Pippi Longstocking, for instance, she was a social democrat, but she had made a lot of money from her books. She found that she paid 102% in taxes.
She wrote this angry essay about a witch who was quite mean and vicious, but not at all as vicious as the Swedish tax authorities.
And yet, even though taxes were high, they did not bring in enough money to fund Sweden's welfare state.
There were waiting lines to get health care. People couldn't get the pension that they thought that they depended on for the future. At that point, the Swedish population just said, enough, we can't do this.
Sweden then reduced government's role. They cut public spending, privatized the national rail network, abolished certain government monopolies, eliminated inheritance taxes, and sold state-owned businesses like the maker of Absolute Vodka.
Lower taxes, reformed the pension system so that it wasn't unsustainable.
The results from the spending cuts and privatization?
This impoverished peasant nation developed into one of the world's richest countries.
All I hear is that Sweden is this socialist paradise.
We do have a bigger welfare state than the U.S., higher taxes than the U.S., but in other areas, when it comes to free markets, when it comes to competition, when it comes to free trade, Sweden is actually more free market.
That free market pays for Sweden's big welfare programs.
Today, our taxes pay for pensions. You call it social security. For 18-month paid parental leave, government-paid childcare for working families.
But
having the government manage all of these things didn't work well. So we had to manage it in another way.
They privatized.
We realized in Sweden that with these government monopolies, we don't get the innovation that we get when we have competition.
And this is particularly true for the school system.
Sweden switched to a school voucher system that lets parents pick their kids' school and forces schools to compete.
And one of the results that we've seen is
You listening,
Not just
Stephen?
that the private schools are better than the public ones, but
Asking
even
Stephen
the
if he's
public
listening.
schools in the vicinity of private schools,
No.
they often improve because they have to.
Sweden's version of Social Security was going broke, so Sweden privatized that too. Privatized the pension system. That terrifies people.
And obviously that scares people, but when they realized that the alternative was that the whole pension system would collapse, they thought that this is much better than nothing.
Now, the bulk of pensions is really contribution defined.
So if things are going well for Sweden, pensions are increasing. But if things are going less well, pensions are automatically lowered, which basically takes away from politicians the ability to buy votes by just promising higher pensions and letting future generations pay.
And when it comes to taxes, what Sweden does may surprise you.
Low-income earners in Sweden pay a lot more than low-income earners in America. So despite the fact that Sweden looks like sort of a socialist country which taxes the rich exorbitantly high, the truth is the opposite.
People who earn below average income pay up to 60% in taxes.
This is the dirty
it.
little secret about
That was
the
less than
Swedish tax
37,000.
system. We don't take from the rich and give to the poor. We squeeze the poor because they are loyal taxpayers.
Not taking more from the rich. School choice, privatization. Sweden is anything but socialist.
You can't turn your backs to the to the creation of wealth.
You can watch the full documentary, Sweden, Lessons for America.
All right, folks, there it is. Now, real quick, phone call. Let's go to Mr. Venezuela himself, Stephen from Shreveport. All right, Stephen, there you go, man. You and your socialistic Sweden and Denmark, you read the truth. You've been so far off calling this program, you're not even close.
I love it. I love the propaganda. Hey, I did my taxes last night. I saved $100 from last year. Thank you, Trump. So, okay, let me ask you a quick question.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you rather paid in?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, that's a typical socialistic, dumb answer. But go ahead. Make your last point so I can take a break.
Okay, so what is the difference between communism and socialism? Anybody on your staff knows the difference.
Let me tell you something.
It's a huge difference.
Well, let me tell you something. Socialism almost always leads to communism. With the country you just heard about, Sweden, they figured out real quick, we don't want to be a communist country. Because what happens is you run out of other people's money. Now you go, well, I can't give you that benefit anymore. And then the people go out in the streets. I'm used to having my health care given to me. I'm used to having this given to me or that given to me. And you're going to take away? And all of a sudden you're upset and you're in the streets and you're protesting because you know why? You hadn't learned to do it yourself.
There is a big difference. And the difference is communism has no private property rights. You understand? There's a huge...
Well, let me ask you a question. In socialism in Venezuela, would you name the people, and you probably can name it on one hand with property rights. You probably can name them on one hand if you looked.
I am not the person saying Venezuela is socialism. You say that.
No. That's what they say they are, and they've been like that, and they bragged about socialism, state control, all companies. That's exactly what it is. Listen, Stephen, you can't win here. You're wasting your precious time. I got to take a break. I don't need this any more ignorance from you. Lord, have mercy. He saved $100 from the Trump tax cut, and he said he would have rather paid it in. You heard him, Brandon? I mean, I'm dealing with a real rocket scientist here. I got to tell you. Let me take a break. Is he married to the Cortez woman, or are they just dating? We'll take a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. I'm telling you what, cuckoo. If you put Stephen and Cortez together, you would hear him sing the words cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. We'll be right back.